County Sports, another week, week 2 of the football season. Shout outs to MoCoFootball.com, Shoot Fashion, Kingdom Yards Productions. I was out at the QO Sherwood game past weekend. I was really impressed with both teams, to be honest with you. Sherwood showed a lot of fight. I think they played well for the most part. The offense still has a lot of work to do for Sherwood. I believe that once Fitz gets healthy and he becomes a full-time player for them, that's going to help them out a lot. They had problems running the ball versus QO, but I think every single team probably in the state would have problems running the ball versus QO. So I don't really think that's going to be a consistent problem for the Warriors, even though I do think that they're going to have to tighten that up a little bit. Moses only got 12 carries. I'm sure that, the coaching staff over there is probably going to want to give him the ball a little bit more for him to impose his will on the defense a little bit more. Defensively, I think they held up real well against QO for the most part. Obviously, QO hit some big plays on them. And you could see it later on in the game, and I felt like I was over on the QO sidelines, and I can feel the momentum swing when the Sherwood kids just started dropping like flies, started cramping up, started dropping, and, you can kind of feel the QO kids kind of feeding off of that, like, this is our time. Those guys were, physically and mentally tougher than Sherwood was that night. I think that was the difference. Tyrell Williams, great warrior. Great kid, too. Spoke to him a little bit after the game. And, he tried his best to come back in the game. The ankle's just too bad. Hopefully he can get back soon. I don't know what the extent of the injury is. Hopefully it's just a bruise or, a minor tweak and he can get back in sooner than later. But, when he went down, you could see that the offense started kind of get a little bit stagnant because he was the main runner. DeAndre Johnson, again, I think that it's safe to say that he's the official Sherwood killer. Obviously, last year returned a punt like right before halftime to put QO up against Sherwood in that game. This year he scores 2 touchdowns and really has a fantastic game on the offensive side of the ball. He steps up and has that long touchdown run to give the control over to QO. I think Sherwood has a lot to build on. It's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs, but I think they can do it. It's just, are going to get the offense ready quick enough to compete with like a Northwest. The marquee game this week is going to be Northwest versus Seneca Valley, the King's Trophy. Huge game. This is really going to show what both teams are made of. I'm real excited to see the game. I'm going to be at that game. I think that overall, both teams are great teams. They're great in their own ways. And, styles make fights. The kids have known each other for a while. These kids have been really circling this game since January. They both knew that they're going to have really good teams coming back. The Northwest team went out versus Blake and had a dominating performance. They still weren't satisfied with what they were doing. And I think that's a mark of a good team. I think that's a mark of a great team, when a team can dominate an opponent but still come away wanting more and think that they could do more. Seneca Valley has a great running back in James Jones-Williams. He's going to have to carry the team. Kevin Joppy is another great player. They got the athletes. Both teams got the athletes, but it's really going to be which set of superstars really step up. But I think it's going to be a great game. I don't really pick games or anything like that. I don't really pick, scores or anything like that. But I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited to watch it. Damascus really showed me something this past week, coming out and dominating Clarksburg team that a lot of people really were high on, and rightfully so. Clarksburg does have a lot of talent. I think that this loss to Damascus is not an indication of what they can do or what they could be later on in the season. I think that they just ran into a team that was, cooking. They ran into a team that I think was firing on all cylinders and defensively at first, because I believe that Damascus scored 3 non-offensive touchdowns in a row. Those kids were firing on all cylinders. The number 2 in my top 8. I think Damascus is a fantastic team. Their defense is great, obviously. So I really do expect Damascus to continue to get better. You look at the fact that Bradshaw didn't even touch the ball nearly as much as I think that the coaching staff over Damascus would like for him to touch the ball. And they still blew out their opponent. And that just goes to show the kind of depth they have on the team, the kind of athletes they have on the team. Not just 1, 2, or 3 players. They're facing Watkins Mill this week. I honestly think that's going to be a tough game. I think that Watkins Mill is a really good team that not a lot of people talk about right now. They have, 3 or 4 really great athletes. We got Pradesh Kikawata on the show this week. That's one of the better athletes they have on Watkins Mill, along with Quentin Littlejohn and Dante Harris. They're confident, and they're not scared of Damascus. But I just think it's going to be a really, really tall task of beating Damascus at this point. I mean, like I said, they're looking like a dominant Montgomery County team. If they can get the quarterback situation figured out, I think that they can be one of those teams that probably could go undefeated. I really do. And run the table all the way to the 3A title. Paint Branch struggled early versus Rockville, got it together. They're breaking in a bunch of new players in key spots. Thomas Lucas looks like he's a bona fide superstar. So as long as you keep on, and you also got Andrew Martin over there, Jonathan Quigley. These guys are really great players, man, and just give them some time. They'll figure it out. Coach Steve Smith is a great coach. He'll figure it out. Next week they got a really humongous matchup with QO, and that's really going to tell a lot about both. So I think all we got to do is just give them some time. We have, of course, Matt Miller coming up next. We have Fitz Mofor coming on. I already mentioned early on that we have Pradesh Kikawata coming on from Watkins Mill. So I think it's going to be a great show. And thank you for tuning in.
We got Matt Miller here, Miller Light 8389, again from MoCo Football. Also, same thing for Twitter. So, Matt, both of us were at the QO game. What do you think about their performance overall? What do you think about Sherwood's also? What are your concerns for both teams going forward?
Well, I think QO looked real good. I mean, their defense was as expected. They shut Sherwood down all game. They had no issues with that. I mean, their offense, it was good. I mean, there's plenty of room to get better. I mean, once Tyrell Williams went down in the first or second quarter with the apparent ankle or leg injury, the running game wasn't as good as they were on the first drive. But
right.
I thought Mike Bartall played well in his first start at quarterback, and I think he'll only get better from there.
Yeah, he played real well, man. He played real well.
Yeah, I thought so too. He made some good decisions, and he made some not great decisions, but nothing that really cost the team.
Right.
You can only get better from here.
Yeah, I mean, if he can play like that throughout the season, they're going to be dangerous with the weapons they have outside. That kid, Elliot Davis, man, he really stepped up and became a real good target for him, throughout the game.
I agree, yeah. And if Quince Orchard has always been known as a run-first team. If
right.
They can develop a passing game and have a little more balance, the offense could be terrific.
Right. As we're talking right now, the official top 8 has not been released yet. But, I just want to, go over my top 8 real quick. I got first, QO, obviously. Damascus is number 2 for me. Number 3 for me is Seneca. Number 4 for me is Northwest. Number 5 for me is Paint Branch. Number 6 is Sherwood. Number 7, I kind of wavered on this one. I really thought about putting Churchill higher, but right now I got Churchill 7. And then now number 8, I got Watkins Mill. and I think that's the one that people might be kind of surprised at. But I got Watkins Mill at 8. I know you're probably as high as I am with Watkins Mill. Just talk about the 8 spot in Watkins Mill real quick. I remember you said something about probably putting them in your top 8 too.
Yeah, I threw my top 8 was, I mean, I had all the same 8. I think 4 and 5 I had reversed. I had Paint Branch at 4, Northwest at 5.
Okay.
But 8, yeah, snuck. I dropped Clarksburg out of there after their performance against Damascus last week, and I moved in Watkins Mill. And Watkins Mill played a, Poolville, who isn't a juggernaut, but I mean, from all accounts, they look good, and they've had some players, and they're a program on the rise. They've the last 2 or 3 years gotten better and better. Now hopefully for Wolverine fans, they're putting it all together. It'll be a tough test for them this week against Damascus, but if they play them close, or if they pull out a victory, it'll turn a lot of heads in the county.
Right. Expand on that game real quick. Just expand on the matchup with Damascus. How do you think they match up, not only on the field, but also in the coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the coaching is, heavily favors Damascus. They've got experience on their side. They have big game experience. All their coaches have been there before. And with Al Thomas on defense, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Right.
But, I mean, the edge goes to Damascus in the coaching. I mean, athletes, overall, it probably goes to Damascus as well. I mean, Damascus should be, and rightfully so, the favorite in this game. And, but like I said, Watkins Mill is at home, and they've got got a chip on their shoulder, and they're out to prove the world, that they're, want to be a force in the 3A. So they're going to leave it all on the field. I expect a good game. It was a toss-up between going to that game or heading out to Seneca Valley to see the Northwest versus Seneca Valley game, and I think I'm going to stay in Germantown, but I'd love to check out the game in Montgomery Village.
Yeah, I mean, good segue, man. Talk about that Seneca Valley Northwest game. I mean, I think that game is really going to show if Northwest is for real. I think they're for real. I think that they're a great team. I think the weapons last week versus Blake didn't even use a quarter of the weapons. You really looked at, some of the comments that the kids had after the game. A lot of the kids were actually disappointed in their performance in a 32-7 performance. So I think that the best is yet to come. So just talk about that game real quick, matching up with Seneca Valley, their defense, because we all know that Seneca Valley has one of the, perennially has always had one of the best defenses out there.
Yeah, again, Northwest, it's good that the kids are disappointed in a 25-point win, but over the past 2 or 3 years, Northwest hasn't had many wins. So
right.
They should just appreciate all the wins that they're going to get this year, whether it be 6, 7, 8 wins, who knows?
Right.
But appreciate every one of them and take every week they should just concentrate on that opponent. As for Seneca Valley, it's perhaps the best rivalry in all of Montgomery County. Germantown's going to be out there, and they always play each other tough. I mean, they, whether the score indicates it or not, these kids want to beat the opposing school, and I don't expect much shaking hands at the end of the game. I think these kids are, like you said, they know each other, they talk trash to each other,
yeah.
They want to beat each other. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm expecting a great game. Both teams are talented. Northwest is very talented on the offensive end, and Seneca, I'd say, is a little more balanced. But I think this is a pick'em game. I think Seneca might be the favorite. As they're at home, and
right.
But Northwest, I wouldn't be surprised to see Northwest pull out the victory.
Northwest, like I said, I'm really impressed with their talent on the offensive side of the ball. They got kids. I think that they got 4, 5, 6 playmakers on their team that they were on other teams. They'll probably be the main people on their teams. I've said that before, but last week there's a kid that stepped up that nobody really is talking about, and scored 2 touchdowns. And I think that if that continues for them, I think they have a really good chance in this game. Now, can Northwest stop Seneca? We all know that Seneca has a great defense, so. Can Northwest stop Seneca from doing what they have to do? And that'll be the real question.
I agree. I mean, I think if control the clock and they play good defense against the passing game of Northwest, I think they can win this game. If Northwest stops Seneca's run game and they're able to air it out all night, it could be a long night for the fans in the Valley.
Seneca Valley has to keep Matty on the sidelines. That's the only way you can really defend him, is having him on the sidelines. Because, I mean, if they're going 3 and out, and having Matty on the field a lot, that's not gonna be good for them. Nobody's gonna be able to defend Northwest with Northwest getting the good amount of the possessions in the game. You're not gonna win that game. So they need to be able to control that ball and keep Matty on the sidelines and be able to manufacture scoring drives, not just field goals, but touchdown drives, elongated, clock-eating touchdown drives.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Like I said, it's just running the ball and, clock control is what they need to do. And, like I said, Coach Kim and his staff are one of the better ones in the county. And they've got a game plan to try to slow down Matty Callahan. Whether it works or not, is yet to be seen.
Just real quick before I let you go, I don't know if you want to touch on the vandalism thing. I'm not sure how much you've seen of that. I don't know if you've seen it, but apparently some Damascus kids after the Damascus-Clarksburg game, vandalized part of the school at Clarksburg. Wrote some stuff on there that we're not going to mention on here. Just touch on that real quick. I mean, I don't think that's any representation of Damascus or the good people in the Damascus area. I just think it was just a few kids just acting up. I just think that, it was just an unfortunate situation. But like I said again, I think people are taking it too far if they're trying to classify Damascus overall as an area, that is full of people like that. I think it was just a, few kids just getting out of line. And I don't think it's a representation of their football team either.
Yeah, no, I think it's not even close to a representation of the town of Damascus. And anyone who thinks otherwise is foolish, in my opinion. I mean, I don't live in Damascus. I have a bunch of friends that do live in Damascus, and I know, firsthand that, whoever's responsible for the vandalism, are just, a couple individuals that should be dealt with, and they don't make up the entire town of Damascus. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that it happened, and I don't consider that a prank. I see it more as vandalism. I'm all for pranks. I loved what they did to Seneca by planting the tree.
Right.
That's hysterical to me. I think that's just all in fun. But
right.
When you graffiti a wall or graffiti a school or something like that, it's crossing the line, and it's unfortunate that it happened. And hopefully, whoever is responsible for the actions is dealt with.
Right. I just think it was just a few individuals acting out, for whatever reason. I just think that after your school wins 41-6, that's enough to make the other team feel pretty bad, the other group of fans feel pretty bad about this situation. But I mean, I just think it's just, a group of kids just, they're going to look back on it. But by no way, shape or form is it a representation, in my opinion, of, like you said, of the area. No way is it a representation of the Damascus team overall. Those are, great individuals from the coaching staff all the way down to the players. I've talked to some of the coaches. I've, talked to some of the players, obviously. Great people. So anybody taking it to that extreme and trying to associate that act with the players or with the coaching staff or anybody else in the Damascus community, I think that's just wrong. But I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I agree. Really quick to cut you off. I agree. Nobody should hold Damascus as a town and a community responsible for the actions of a handful or however many people.
Right, and it's just kids should really take this into consideration when you do things like this. You're not really only affecting yourself, and you're not really shedding only a bad light on yourself. You're shedding a bad light on everybody that you're associated yourself with. So these people just shedded a bad light on what is a really, really great town, a really, really great community, and a great program. Well, that's it, man. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it, and I'll see you at the game, on Friday.
at Seneca Valley representing MoCoFootball.com, and if anyone wants to talk to me on Twitter, you can talk to me. It's Matt Miller 8389, and see you Friday on the sideline.
Definitely, man. Appreciate it. Okay. We're here with Khadij Pickawata from Watkins Mill off of a big win. And, off of that big win, how is the team's confidence? Usually Watkins Mill is not known as one of the bigger schools, but you guys have talent. What's your confidence like right now coming off a 41-12 win over Poolsville and going to the next week into Damascus?
Oh, it was definitely a great win as a team overall. But our confidence is about the same as we went in, because we know we have bigger fish to fry and we have bigger goals. So Poolsville was a good win overall as a team, but Damascus will be coming after.
Talk about people underestimating Watkins Mill. You guys weren't picked to be in the top 8. Does it fuel you guys to perform? Do you guys pay attention to that at all? Is it just something that you guys put to the side and just perform on the field and just let the play do the talking?
One of the things that Coach Watson definitely teaches us is that we can only control what we can control.
Right.
We can't really mind what other sports saying. We come in every single day, we work hard, we get better, and we go out there and play the rest.
So the DMAS game, looking forward to that, basically making a statement to the county about Watkins Mill football overall.
I think it's just stay disciplined, run the ball, play good defense. As wonderful leader Raheem Dorsey said, it's definitely going to be a dogfight. So we're not expecting there to go there and blow up the scoreboard. We're expecting to go there, play hard defense, and get what we can on offense.
Talk about the athletes you have on your team. You guys are obviously a fast team. Do you guys really pride yourself on being a fast team? Just talk about your off-season conditioning and how it's geared towards that.
Oh, definitely. We have our quarterback, Patrick Schlosser, who is an incredible athlete. And not to mention Quinn Lowe-John, who just committed as Brook, and Dante Hears. And we have some athletes on the line as Karsten and Raheem Dorsey. So we have a lot of talent. And this year, I think, was the first year in a while that I've seen people, we were very focused on the goal this season. So we worked hard. The coaches put together an incredible off-season program, which everyone were committed to, and I'm expecting great things.
Talk more about, Quentin Littlejohn, Dante Harris. Talk about having those two guys on the team, and two guys that are not really talked about a lot amongst the elite, but are elite players, Division I type players. Talk about them real quick, and also yourself as an elite player in this county and how you want to basically announce that to the world on Friday nights.
Quinn Littlejohn, he's a hard-working player. He doesn't say a lot. He comes out there every day, works hard. He put in a lot of work. And Dante here is just so hard for defense. We go as he goes. He's a hard player. He works very hard. Works to perfect his craft. And myself, I put in a lot of work in the offseason with the injuries I've suffered the past 2 years.
Okay.
Went out there camps to show my abilities, and I think I had a pretty good offseason, and can't wait to put it all together.
Talk about the type of team that Watkins Mill is, that people might not be familiar with the style of play you guys on offense and on defense. Just talk about your offensive philosophy and defensive philosophy, respectively.
On offense, we do a little bit of all. We do a little bit full shotgun, spread out option. We like to use the speed a lot, so we like to stretch for out. And on defense, we play a big 4-3, and our defensive coordinator, Coach Below, is an amazing coach, and he puts us in position to win.
Over the years, Watkins Mill had good starts but fizzled out. Talk about what are you guys doing this year to make sure that doesn't happen. Just talk about how you guys are not going to fizzle out as the season waits on and really get those victories that I believe that you should get.
I think it really starts with the change in mentality. I think in the past years we've had mentality to go go into games and keep things close and see how things turn out.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we're planning on going there. Definitely that we have a say in the outcome of the games. We're planning on going out there playing hard.
Right.
And our mentality overall as a team has just improved.
Going up against talent like Zach Bradshaw, have you heard much about him? Have you watched a little bit of film on him? Just talk about that matchup, and also all the Damascus kids going up against Damascus, the talents that are on that team, and how you guys really match up.
Zach Bradshaw, I mean, he's as good as advertised. I've seen him in film. I don't know him personally, but I have talked to him, and he's a great player. But I believe that Quinn Lojon and Dante Harris will do a great job covering him on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay.
And Rashad Ball, he's a big body. He's a transfer from Watkins Mill.
Mm-hmm.
I played with Ball freshman year. I know his abilities, and I think a line is up for the task to take him on. And Jalen Christian, I haven't seen him play.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really seen him personally, but I've heard of when the great athlete he is. So we're looking forward to the challenge coming up next week.
Thank you for stopping by, man. And, I'm definitely going to be keeping track of you guys throughout the rest of the season, because I think you guys have a hell of a team. And just keep it up, man. And I expect more from you and your team.
Thank you. Definitely.
All right, we got Fitz MoCo, the linebacker from Sherwood High School. How you doing, Fitz?
I'm doing good, man. Good with you.
I'm good, man. Hey, so first and foremost, how's your ankle, man? You got injured versus Seneca Valley during a scrimmage, and you had a limited role last Friday versus QO. How are you feeling right now? And are you gonna be ready for Blake on Friday?
I mean, right now it's about 95%. Feeling real good. I mean, last week I could have gone for a time, but I guess Coach Bobby was trying to hold the team for the rest of the season. But right now it's about 95%. Not quite 100 yet, but I'll definitely be ready for Blake. Definitely ready for action for Blake.
I know you didn't play a lot last week. From what you've seen, that was the number one team in the county, probably the number one team in the state. How far away are you guys from being, in that class from what you've seen?
One team in the state, I definitely can see this going long payoff on me, because there's a point in time in the game where I saw a couple plays here and there. That first pass, quarterback through the number 9, that was huge. And when number 9 had a long run, that was huge too. Big game. We had some opportunities.
You guys got Blake this week. Damascus is coming up later on. You guys have a tough schedule. You know that you can only lose maybe 1, maybe 2 games to get into the playoffs. How much stress are you guys under knowing that? Do you guys do a little bit of schedule watching, knowing that, we can't lose more than 1 or 2 games?
Actually, no stress at all. We try to take every game like it's a playoff game, even no matter what team it is, whether it's Slayer, Lake, Damascus, QO, no matter if we're going to come in the game 100%. And we don't really think about that. We just know that every week, every team that we play has to be a W. We don't really come with playoff points and like, this team and that team. But every game on Friday night, we shove it up and give 100%, try to get that W.
You guys missed the playoffs last year. It wasn't a usual Sherwood year. Talk about just overall difference in the team. I had Moses on last week. He talked about people stepping up as leaders who do over the offseason to make sure that you were ready individually so the team wouldn't be, in the same position it was last year.
Well, last year was kind of different because Coach Bobby didn't come in until like around June. So we didn't really have a team until then. But this year has been a lot different. We've been starting since January, but individually, as folks, the team can get better. I've just been trying to work on my speed for the most part, trying to put on a couple pounds. That's about it, I haven't really done anything different than I have done in the past. I just started going to college programs,
waiting for a little bit.
Going forward, how excited are you about Jordan Larson's production last week? He did have some mistakes, but he was markedly better than he was last year. How excited are you about the possibility of having a passing game this year?
I'm extremely excited because I think Jordan Larson is a great athlete with great potential, huge potential. He can play just about any position on the football field. He did a lot better than he did last year. Like last year, we had over 100 yards passing, which is like 1/3 of what we had all last year. Last year, we only threw for 300 yards. So that's a plus already. But I mean, there's a couple passes here and there that we wish we could get, but he's still getting better. And I think I'm extremely excited with Jordan Larson on the center this year.
Last but not least, talk about number 9. Talk about your good friend Richie. Talk about your relationship with him first and foremost, and talk about how comforting it is to have that guy in the backfield for you. Going out lining up with them every single week.
Richie. I see Richie as more of a brother than a friend and everything. I think it's great to have somebody like that coming out to play with me. I mean, Richie is not the only person on my team that I say brother. There's Dante, Jordan, Trent, there's Moses. I have like 5 or 6 people that I can consider my brothers on the team. They're really good friends with me. I think Richie's an outstanding player. He's a Division I player, Division I athlete. So I think he can go to just about almost any school he wants to, whatever. And I think he makes my job easier playing with him and makes the team a lot better playing with him.
Well, all right, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you calling in.